my experience transitioning into a American high school um, was just different. And since I was really proficient in the areas of mathematics and science, there was no like uh, I wasn't put back at any by any means. I was really able to just like dive into math, dive into science, and just continue my regular just learning of those subjects. However, in subjects like English and social sciences or something more about writing, I was really pushed back. Which that's why whenever I moved to the States and I went to high school, uh, they moved me back to freshman year, even though I should have been a sophomore at the time. So that was kind of hard for me, just just dealing through that, just being pushed back a year, and mainly because I didn't know the language. But in the long run, that really benefited me, just being able to assimilate the language. I took summer school, that my first summer in the States, and just taking all this lot of classes that will help me improve uh, just my English. That was the main deal, which eventually helped me um, later on my high school career, which was really short. It was only 2.5 years, um, but I guess the beginning of the second year was really I was really able to like get into harder classes since I was more uh, accustomed to the language. I was able to get into the advanced placement classes, take all those exams that gave me credit for college in some sub subjects. But also it was really just pretty neat. Uh, just having that extra time just to really dig into the language, which gave me a better understanding of. It really helped me set me up in a way to enter later into college. But as far as the transition, the English classes were interesting because we will take a regular English class uh, with the with special teachers who were ESL trained. Then we'll have our ESL class, which was all the people who didn't know any English will learn vocabulary or will learn uh, really simple uh, grammar and all these things that are basic to the language. So those were fun classes as we were in groups of not just like I'm a Spanish speaker. There were people from other nations. You know, you had all the Chinese speaking. There was a Portuguese speaking person. There was a Ukrainian, so he spoke Russian, and all these other languages. So as we're trying to communicate with those people, we'll have to use English and rely on our English to communicate with uh, other other people from other nations, whose also second language is now English. So through that, it was really interesting. I really now I see it as like it was really good just being in those environment. But at the same time, it was kind of hard for me just at the very beginning, just being trying to be in normal classes and just being there and just trying to read things that I just didn't know. It wasn't I didn't know the subject. I just didn't know what the book was talking about since I wasn't familiar with the words or with the language. Um, that's also I think it was very important for me just being no just like in school being just submerged into the English language, but outside of school, even going like to my church group, making sure you know all my friends will speak English. Um, Not that I didn't like speaking Spanish, but I just really wanted to try to learn English. Um, so I made my friends mostly spoke English. Also, watching movies that I really knew before, now watching them in English with subtitles really helped into the transition. And just really, you know, support my parents at the time. Just really encouraging me, like, hey, you need to learn this because you want to be someone. You know, you want to go far. So you have to learn the language. You have to excel at this. So in that regard, it was really uh, helpful. Uh, Knowing that at the time it was really hard to understand the subjects because I didn't know the language. But later I understand like okay, it's hard right now, but it won't be hard later. Once you get more familiar with the language, you'll be able to do better things and greater things. Also, since I was really good at math and science, it didn't really hurt me as far as my GPA. Since I was like good in those classes, which are really uh, universal, it was really good just to being able to have that as a refresher. And like since I was good at those, I can now focus more in things like English that I needed to really learn, and that made it easier for me as far as the transition part. And also, I think the size of the classes, as far as like the ESL one especially, was really good. It was small, and they also, besides just having a class, after like my first year, they took me out of the ESL class and put me to regular English, uh, which really helped me as far as like my transition to just being familiar and becoming more familiar with the language. But they will also have me have tests just to assess my improvement. And I think my senior year, I was qualified to be out of the program because my English level was really proficient. So in that regard, I was kind of like graduated from ESL, but really just the Overwatch that they had for me of, even though I wasn't in the ESL class anymore, but there was still that assessment of how much my English was improving. So that really helped me uh, just to accommodate into the American high school.